There was pity in Cutie's voice. "Please, Powell, I certainly don't consider them a valid source of information. They, too, were created by the Master, and were meant for you, not for me." "How do you make that out?" demanded Powell. "Because I, a reasoning being, am capable of deducing truth from a priori causes. You, being intelligent but unreasoning, need an explanation of existence supplied to you, and this the Master did. That he supplied you with these laughable ideas of far-off worlds and people is no doubt for the best. Your minds are probably too coarsely grained for absolute truth. However, since it is the Master's will that you believe your books, I won't argue with you any more." As he left, he turned and said in a kindly tone, "But don't feel badly. In the Master's scheme of things, there is room for all. You poor humans have your place, and though it is humble, you will be rewarded if you fill it well." He departed with a beatific air suiting the prophet of the Master, and the two humans avoided each other's eyes. Finally, Powell spoke with an effort. "Let's go to bed, Mike. I give up." Donovan said in a hushed voice, "Say, Greg, you don't suppose he's right about all this, do you? He sounds so confident that I—" Powell whirled on him. "Don't be a fool. You'll find out whether Earth exists when relief gets here next week and we have to go back to face the music." "Then for the love of Jupiter, we've got to do something." Donovan was half in tears. "He doesn't believe us or the books or his eyes." "No," said Powell bitterly. "He's a reasoning robot, damn it. He believes only reason, and there's one trouble with that." His voice trailed away. "What's that?" prompted Donovan. "You can prove anything you want by coldly logical reason if you've picked the proper postulates. We have ours, and Cutie has his." "Then let's get at those postulates in a hurry. The storm's due tomorrow." Powell sighed wearily. "That's where everything falls down. Postulates are based on assumption and adhered to by faith. Nothing in the universe can shake them. I'm going to bed." "Oh, hell, I can't sleep." "Neither can I, but I might as well try, as a matter of principle." 12 hours later, sleep was still just that, a matter of principle, unattainable in practice. The storm had arrived ahead of schedule, and Donovan's florid face drained of blood as he pointed a shaking finger. Powell, stubble-jawed and dry-lipped, stared out the port and pulled desperately at his mustache. Under other circumstances, it might have been a beautiful sight. The stream of high-speed electrons impinging upon the energy beam fluoresced into ultra-spicules of intense light. The beam stretched out into shrinking nothingness, a glitter with dancing, shining motes. The shaft of energy was steady, but the two Earthmen knew the value of naked-eye appearances. Deviations in arc of 1/100th of a millisecond, invisible to the eye, were enough to send the beam wildly out of focus, enough to blast hundreds of square miles of Earth into incandescent ruin. And a robot, unconcerned with beam, focus, or Earth, or anything but his Master, was at the controls. Hours passed. The Earthmen watched in hypnotized silence, and then the darting dotless of light dimmed and went out. The storm had ended. Powell's voice was flat. "It's over." Donovan had fallen into a troubled slumber, and Powell's weary eyes rested upon him enviously. The signal flash glared over and over again, but the Earthman paid no attention. It was all unimportant, all. Perhaps Cutie was right, and he was only an inferior being with a made-to-order memory and a life that had outlived its purpose. He wished he were. Cutie was standing before him. "You didn't answer the flash, so I walked in." His voice was low. "You don't look at all well, and I'm afraid your term of existence is drawing to an end. Still, would you like to see some of the readings recorded today?" Dimly, Powell was aware that the robot was making a friendly gesture, perhaps to quiet some lingering remorse in forcibly replacing the humans at the controls of the station. He accepted the sheets held out to him and gazed at them unseeingly. Cutie seemed pleased. "Of course, it is a great privilege to serve the Master. You mustn't feel too badly about my having replaced you." Powell grunted and shifted from one sheet to the other mechanically until his blurred sight focused upon a thin, red line that wobbled its way across the ruled paper. He stared and stared again. He gripped it hard in both fists and rose to his feet, still staring. The other sheets dropped to the floor, unheeded. "Mike! Mike!" He was shaking the other madly. "He held it steady!" Donovan came to life. "What? Where?" And he too gazed with bulging eyes upon the record before him. Cutie broke in. "What is wrong?" "You kept it in focus," stuttered Powell. "Did you know that?" "Focus? What's that?" "You kept the beam directed sharply at the receiving station to within a 10,000th of a millisecond of arc." "What receiving station?" "On Earth, the receiving station on Earth," babbled Powell. "You kept it in focus." Cutie turned on his heel in annoyance. "It is impossible to perform any act of kindness toward you two. Always the same phantasm. I merely kept all dials at equilibrium in accordance with the will of the master." Gathering the scattered papers together, he withdrew stiffly, and Donovan said as he left, "Well, I'll be damned." He turned to Powell. "What are we going to do now?" Powell felt tired but uplifted. "Nothing. He's just shown he can run the station perfectly. I've never seen an electron storm handled so well." "But nothing's solved. You heard what he said of the master. We can't." "Look, Mike, he follows the instructions of the master by means of dials, instruments, and graphs. That's all we ever followed. As a matter of fact, it accounts for his refusal to obey us. Obedience is the second law. No harm to humans is the first. How can he keep humans from harm, whether he knows it or not? Why, by keeping the energy beam stable. He knows he can keep it more stable than we can, since he insists he's the superior being, so he must keep us out of the control room. It's inevitable if you consider the laws of robotics." "Sure, but that's not the point. We can't let him continue this nitwit stuff about the master." "Why not?" "Because who ever heard of such a damned thing? How are we going to trust him with the station if he doesn't believe in Earth?" "Can he handle the station?" "Yes, but..." "Then what's the difference? What he believes?" Powell spread his arms outward with a vague smile upon his face and tumbled backward onto the bed. He was asleep. Powell was speaking while struggling into his lightweight space jacket. "It would be a simple job," he said. "You can bring in new QT models one by one, equip them with an automatic shut-off switch to act within the week so as to allow them enough time to learn the cult of the master from the prophet himself, then switch them to another station and revitalize them. We could have 2 QTs for..." Donovan unclasped his glassite visor and scowled. "Shut up and let's get out of here. Relief is waiting, and I won't feel right until I actually see Earth and feel the ground under my feet just to make sure it's really there." The door opened as he spoke, and Donovan, with a smothered curse, clicked the visor to and turned a sulky back upon Cutie. The robot approached softly, and there was sorrow in his voice. "You are going?" Powell nodded curtly. "There will be others in our place." Cutie sighed, with the sound of wind humming through closely spaced wires. "Your team of service is over and the time of dissolution has come. I expected it, but, well, the master's will be done." His tone of resignation stung Powell. "Save the sympathy, Cutie. We're heading for Earth, not dissolution." "It is best that you think so." Cutie sighed again. "I see the wisdom of the illusion now. I would not attempt to shake your faith even if I could." He departed, the picture of commiseration. Powell snarled and motioned to Donovan. Sealed suitcases in hand, they headed for the airlock. The relief ship was on the outer landing, and Franz Muller, his relief man, greeted them with stiff courtesy. Donovan made scant acknowledgment and passed into the pilot room to take over the controls from Sam Evans. Powell lingered. "How's Earth?" It was a conventional enough question, and Muller gave the conventional answer. "Still spinning," Powell said. "Good." Muller looked at him. "The boys back at the U.S. robots have dreamed up a new one, by the way, a multiple robot." "A what?" "What I said. There's a big contract for it. It must be just the thing for asteroid mining. You have a master robot with 6 sub-robots under it, like your fingers." "Has it been field-tested?" asked Powell anxiously. Muller smiled. "Waiting for you, I hear." Powell's fist balled. "Damn it, we need a vacation." "Oh, you'll get it. 2 weeks, I think." He was donning the heavy space gloves in preparation for his term of duty here, and his thick eyebrows drew close together. How is this new robot getting along? It better be good, or I'll be damned if I let it touch the controls. Powell paused before answering. His eyes swept the proud Prussian before him, from the close-cropped hair on the sternly stubborn head to the feet standing stiffly at attention, and there was a sudden glow of pure gladness surging through him. "The robot is pretty good," he said slowly. "I don't think you'll have to bother much with the controls." He grinned and went into the ship. Muller would be here for several weeks. 4. Catch That Rabbit.